for me. So with every step I believe it's a brand new day. All my past is washed away. So I give you all my praise. Jesus, I will go your way. You have all my life. All my life. All my life. All my life. It's for you. Oh, it's for you. Oh, it's a new season I'm living in. Everything changed because you're with me. Now I come alive in your presence. With every step I believe it's a brand new day. All my past is washed away. So I give you all my praise. Jesus, I will go your way. You have all my life. All my life. All my life. All my life. It's for you. Oh, it's for you. Oh, every beat of my heart beats for you. Every breath in my lungs is for you. Everything that I do is for you. Jesus, it's for you. Every beat of my heart beats for you. Every breath in my lungs is for you. Everything that I do is for you. Jesus, it's for you. You have all my life. All my life. All my life. All my life. It's for you. Oh, it's for you. Oh, every beat of my heart beats for you. Every breath in my lungs is for you. Everything that I do is for you. Jesus, it's for you. Every beat of my heart beats for you. Every breath in my lungs is for you. Everything that I do is for you. Jesus, it's for you.
And on the practical side today, I think this is really going to help you. Me and my daughter was just talking about this not long ago. In life, character and how we treat people, how we follow through. Some things that we work together, and so communication is so key. And there was a couple things that I must not have communicated well with her because a couple things fell through the crack and didn't get done. And so we learned that week, and she said, "Hey Mom, you need to speak on that on the practical side about the follow through." And I think some examples of that is if you've gotten a call and you didn't have time to answer it right then, always maybe send them a text and say, "Hey, I saw that you called, but I'm really busy. Let me get you later." That is a wonderful thing to do. And as business owners, let me tell you, if somebody does that, and not many people really do that, but if somebody does that, I'm like, okay, this is a person of great character. Or if you got a text and you can't really respond right then, always put it in your reminder if you have to. always respond to a text and just be polite. And you might even say something like, hey, I'm covered up right now, but I'll get right back to you. Something like that. Let's see what else that we could say on the practical side about that follow through. I think the communication issue is so important that it leaves all the questions answered. If we're communicating well, we're going to have a great relationship, great business relationships, great partnerships, great relationship with our kids. So it's just basic communication. Say, hey, I know how you feel about that, but you know, I'm not quite sure. Let me pray about that just a little bit longer. If you're not 100% sure, it's okay to say, I'm not sure. Let me think on that. And I've learned to do this. If I'm not 100% sure, I'll say, let me sleep on that and I'll get back with you in the morning. Because sometimes we can jump really too fast. And what good character does, instead of saying yes and have to go back and say, why did I say yes to this? You know, and good character keeps their word. So if you've said yes to something and you really made a mistake, instead of, you know, dreading it, you might just call them up and say, you know, I really jumped too fast. I think I gave a decision on that too fast. I really don't feel like that's the thing for me to do right now. Just good character. And you know, people love honesty. Don't you guys love honesty? When somebody can just be flat honest with me, I absolutely love that. And even if you're younger, sometimes you hate to say no because you're afraid that that person's going to be disappointed in you. You know, if you'll learn how to say yes at the right time and learn how to say no at the right time. And if you can't say no quickly and you're afraid, say, you know, let me think on that. And I really will consider it and I will get back to you on that. And make sure that you do get back to them on that, because if you don't, that's lying. And the last thing we want to do with a person at the end of the day is lies. If I've missed, because sometimes I'll get a lot of texts, and if I've missed somebody and it's been 2 days later and I see, oh no, I missed that, I'll send them a polite text and I'll say, you know, I'm so sorry, I got so busy and I looked at this text and I was just so covered up, I couldn't get back with you right then and I apologize. Now what can I do for you? Just things like that, just being good character. I hope that helps you today.
And me and Rob and Tina, my wife, me and Rob and Tina and Deanna, and we had a job with the Kennedy Bus Company, so we call it. And we had to go around to every county and redo bus seats. You know how kids are. They'll tear the school bus seats all to pieces. Because I was a kid, I used to do the same. And if we all admitted, we were all like it, kind of rough on them seats. Well, we would go in these buses and we would take the backs off, take the bottoms off, recover them, and go on to another bus. We'd do maybe 10, 20 seats in one bus. We'd go from one bus to another bus to another bus. And it was hot. I mean, miserably hot. You could take an egg sometime and just crack it and lay it on the walk step, and it would fry. It would be so hot inside there. You didn't have time really to lower the windows down and do the work. You had to just jump in, do the seats, and get back off and go to the next one. We worked all day. Time to go to the motel, and boy, was we ready to go. We went from motel to motel. Couldn't find one because they was having some kind of a reunion or something. So we ended up leaving Isle of Wight and going plumb into Newport News. And we finally found us a motel. Boy, we was happy. We had all ready to go to bed after taking showers, and we were all ready laying down. Well, lo and behold, somebody in the next room was just beating the tar out of a woman. They were having them a fight. And I mean, it went on, and I'd bang on the wall, and by that, I mean, just make it worse, I guess. Anyway, I decided I'd just call the law. So I did. I called down to office, and I said, if you all don't get the law up here, this man is going to beat this woman to death. So next thing I know, lights is flashing down below the motel, and they're out there talking, and finally got him on out. This is like 1 o'clock in the morning, and they finally got him out. The woman was fine, I guess, so everything calmed down. Well, me and the wife was laying there about ready to go to sleep. It was going on now 3 o'clock in the morning. We had to get up at daylight, go get them buses done. All of a sudden, everything real quiet, ready to go to sleep. All of a sudden, you heard this scream. I mean to tell you, it was a curly scream like a wildcat had struck in the room. And I turned and looked, and there's Deanna standing on the bed. And she had one of them cruel scream that you just can't get out of your mind, And I'm going, what in the world? She laid back down the bed, silent. Boy, there I laid there and I said, things I hope it's calmed down. I'm not going to go about an hour or so asleep. Well, they all got up and I was so tired of it. I said, well, all in all, I had a pretty active night. I said, I didn't get to sleep much. But that was how she had screamed so loud. We couldn't figure out, what she had even done it for. And I asked Rob. Rob said, I don't know. He slept through it. So we did have a good time knowing the Lord. I will say. Thank you.
She made me laugh. I don't even tell that story.
It's true.
Oh, they did. Oh, come on. I don't remember my name. I don't even know if it's true, but that's
I got my wife to believe. What she got?
You're so pretty. You're a pretty baby.
Oh.
Well, on the spiritual side today, I would love to share with you something that has been on my heart strong for a couple of years. I've received it. I counted this morning because I actually received it again in my Bible study time this morning. So I think it's so powerful. I think it's going to be a great word for you. Hope you're ready. Nehemiah chapter 4. I counted the number of times that I've studied this out and received it from the Lord. It's about 28 now, and it started in 2021. So at Nehemiah chapter 4, bottom line, here's what it says. Don't be afraid. Take a bold stand. Fight for your family. Fight for your friends. Fight for your home. My goodness, if that's not a word in due season, I don't know that there ever will be. Guys, if there's ever been a time for us to have a voice, a righteous, just voice, and take a stand, the time is now. I'm amazed at what's happened in America over the last couple of years. I have never even heard this story, never heard it when I was little, went to Sunday school my entire life, never heard this story. But I was so amazed when God started giving it to me over and over. I would get my Bible study time and here it would come, here it would come, here it would come. So I always, when God's showing me something strong, I mark it and date it. I've got like 28 or 29 dates since 2021 that God's given me this, and today being one of them. Guys, if we don't have a strong voice and take a stand as God's children, as righteous children of the living King, King Jesus, I'm concerned about our freedoms being taken. So we have to take this bold stand. It's not that hard just to say, this is right and that is not. And why? Because the Word of God says so. We're not the ones. God is the one that wrote that on the tablets of our heart. We can't help it, really. If you know God, it's written on your heart. And the Word even says, if you don't know Him, even the heathen know that's never even heard the gospel. Simply, they can look up at a sunset or a sunrise and know that there is a God. And those laws are written on our heart. So we must just take bold stands, and when it's time to speak up, we must speak up. And it goes on over, if you'll flip on, it's the same chapter, but it also says that God will fight for us. You know, I was just thinking about that this morning. God will fight for us. Yes, He will. But when the children of Israel were possessing the land, He required that they fight, that they kill for that land, kill the evil ones and possess that land. So we have to. There's just times that we're going to have to come out of comfort zones, and we're going to say things that maybe might not be agreeable with what's going on in our world today. You know, most people, though, in this Bible Belt region love God and love justice and want what is right, but worldwide it doesn't appear that way. You know, there's a lot of craziness going on even here in America. So I pray today that you cannot be afraid and take those bold stands. Oh my goodness, run for office in your community. Go to meetings that matter. You know, not long ago, a lady came to me, one of my friends, and she just had something on her heart so strong that our board in this area, in our city, was getting ready to bring up what we could do about abortions and things like that, because so many people around us in this Bible Belt are saying, no, we're not going to have the killing of the babies. We're not doing that here. You know, we're going to help these unwed mothers or people who are in trouble, and we're going to try to see solutions instead of all that's going on with these babies. And you know, it was just so important to her, and it hit my heart so strong when she came to me and said, Deanna, would you call the councilman? Would you be willing to do that? And I thought, you know, God, this came back to me, and it's touching my heart right now, because I thought, you know, I do have that voice. We have a business here in this community. We've always been in business. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, you have a strong voice. So I made it a point to call every single one of those councilmen or councilwomen, and I said, you know, I've never done this before, and we've had a business here for 20 plus years, and I said, it's coming up, it's in our face. You know, let's please hear us out. Let's not bring a clinic here when all these people around us are not doing that. It's our time to take that bold stand and say, no, we're going to help adopt these babies out. We're going to do everything we can so that you, as a young lady, will not have to make that decision that can really cost you heartache, maybe the rest of your life. Because from what I understand, women that do that, you know, you think you're going to be okay with some of those decisions, but at the end of the day, so many testimonials of they just couldn't get it out of their mind, out of their hearts, and it just took them years of counseling and help to overcome some of those decisions. Listen, I'm telling you right now in Ecclesiastes, it tells us the decisions we make when we're young, and that's another one that's come to me really strong for a couple of years, and I read it over and over and over to my kids, especially my daughter, because she's the only one still home. But decisions we make when we're younger do affect the rest of our life. And I know you older ones, you agree with that. Things that we decided when we were younger, oh my goodness, we have to live with. That's why every decision must be prayed over. And if you are listening to this right now, there is therefore no condemnation in things that you've done and decisions that you've made. Jesus forgives us, and I believe with all of my heart, He can heal anything that's on the inside of our heart. Wrong decisions we've made like that. But just think about that today. It's just such an important thing that we stand up, we take bold stands, we make a phone call, we make 2 or 3 phone calls if need be. We get on boards, you know, we take that stand. We say, God bless you. When we're out in public and somebody needs prayer, stand right there and pray for them. I do. When somebody's sick and I see that they're hurting, I say, would you mind if I would pray for you? Doesn't matter where it's at. You know, most people around us really love the fact that we care enough to pray for somebody. So much to learn in that, guys, and I won't go on and on and on, but get in Nehemiah chapter 4, and it says, I'll repeat what it says again, don't be afraid. Fight for your family. Fight for your friends. Fight for your home. And I would have to say what God is saying is fight for your freedom. And your voice is just that. I hope that helps you today.
I'm Brittany Randolph, and I'm 34 years old. At a very young age, I lost my father, about age 6, I would say. So automatically, I think I just had fear of just not having my father and just confusion. As we went down, my mom got remarried and had a stepfather, so there was another father figure in my life. But then he sexually molested me, so in my mind, I just felt like I was unvaluable or fatherless. But as time went on, at the age of 14 is when I started picking up smoking, weed, and drinking. Those were the things I relied on to get rid of my pain and rid of reality. Those are the only things I knew that would make me feel numb to everything. So eventually just led on to bigger things, and I got hooked on pain pills real bad for years and years. Ended up on Suboxone, which is very hard to come off of, and so somebody introduced me to methamphetamine, told me that it would help me get off Suboxone, so I went from that to that, which once I got on meth, it was a very life-controlling drug. It took everything away from me, my kids, my family, my dignity, just everything, my house. I was homeless, I was an IV user. It just went from place to place to live and just really relied on that drug. It controlled my life every day, and it was my outlet. It took me out of this world into a whole nother realm. But I was in and out of jail my whole adulthood. Even as a teenager, I was in the probation. But this last time that I went to jail, I knew something had changed within me because I was just exhausted. I was tired of fighting this ongoing life that brought me nothing but destruction and emptiness. I was empty inside. But this last time I went to jail, I was just laying there, and I called on to the Lord, and I did that every time I was in jail. I promised God, if you get me out of this, I'll do right, but we never did. But this last time, I knew something changed in me, because at the time I didn't even know what I was saying to him, but I told him, Lord, I don't know what to do here. I'm broken, and I need your help. And I can't promise you nothing, Lord. And that's where I knew I had changed. I can't promise you nothing, Lord, but I know I need help, and I know I need your guidance. It was like lightning hit my veins at that very moment. I wanted to get up, start exercising and everything. I was ready to go. But it was like, when I was in and out of jail, I never read the Bible or nothing, never really interested me. But it was like it was lit up underneath that bunk. And I asked my cellmate, I was like, can I please see that Bible? And she automatically began to read Psalms to me out of it, and it spoke right to me. So I knew that God was doing something within me. So after I got out of jail, Tri-Cities Recovery helped me get into a program called Women at the Well, and that's where I grew a relationship with the Lord. And how I know it was the Lord, because as soon as I got out, everything just lined up. When you're walking in the will of God, it just lines up. Amen. And so I went there and grew a relationship with the Lord. And, God brought it to my attention when I stand over here. That lady with the blood issue, if I just get one touch, if I could just get a touch of his garment, it's just that one touch of God, and he's an everlasting God. And once you get that one touch, it's just, you're like, you just want to run laps, and I grew a relationship with him there. I completed the program, done an internship, and I've just been following at Tri-Cities Recovery for the past years, and man, won't he do it? He's a God of restoration. He's restored everything back to me. What the enemy took, God restored back tenfold, because that's what a mighty God we serve. And he is limitless. We can put limits on our life, with these drugs and stuff like that. There's a limit to it, But God is limitless. He's everlasting, and he just keeps going on and on and on. So the verse I stand on is Colossians 1:13-4. For he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. Thank you.
As I walk now through the valley, let your love rise above every fear. Like the sun shaping the shadows, in my weakness your glory appears. I'm not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? Oh, I'm not enough. I'm not
Can you believe we've been here 25 years?
You know, it's just been 21.
25 years. Seems like it's been here forever to me. I don't know about you.
He's 21, I'm not 25.
21.
Yeah, raise their kids here, didn't we, baby? Old commercial. And come see us at Everything Goes Furniture here in Bristol, Virginia. Or check us out online at everythinggoesfurniture.com. Thanks.
That's it.